Okay. Stand down. Stand down. Hi guys, we're back. That was Faith. I told her you'd probably meet her before we were finished. We wanted to come back on camera for just a minute and tell you a little bit about one of the topics that you mentioned. Michelle, I think it was, mentioned in an email that she wanted us to talk a little bit about was West Virginia and the folks in our area. So Dom and I are going to talk a little bit about that because it is really it's a very unusual area. You know, I know that when I talked to Barbara, one of the things she talked about was the Appalachia kind of flavor in West Virginia, and we do get some of that. We have a really wide cultural diversity here in the folks that we deal with as clients and the folks that we interview as witnesses. And we'll talk just a tiny bit about that. But I think that, you know, when I think about the people that we work with and the folks we encounter, not just clients, but you know, the witnesses and the people in the court systems and the people who call on the phones. You know, one of the things and then we ultimately engage in some kind of relationship with, whether it's just, you know, interviewing or whether it's becoming clients. You know, I think one of the things that I find most important in what we do, and one of the things I think that makes us good really at what we do, is that we're able to meet people where they are. You know, we're able to, and I mean that figuratively and literally as well. You know.
She means that we will drive out a back road 17 miles through a creek and over some rocks to get to these people's houses to interview them. Literally.
Yeah, the Flynn case, I took my Monte Carlo up a creek bed, and it would have made a great commercial. I told everybody I should have made that commercial and called it "It's Not Just Another Pretty Face," talking about the new Monte Carlo I took up a creek bed. But we go to their houses. We meet them in bars. We meet them in restaurants. But as person to person, we meet them where they are. You know, we don't meet them judgmentally in any way at all, and we're very careful about that. When and if you meet us in person and come here, you'll see that, you know, we're incredibly casual. We're always casually dressed. We don't wear a lot of bangles. Well, normally anyway. Now Dom actually is the bangly one, the dangly one. She likes, you know, jewelry and that kind of stuff. But even at that, it's not, you know, ritzy looking and gold and glamour and diamonds, because, you know, we want people to feel like
Comfortable.
Yeah, just comfortable. They're one of us, because I think that, especially in the criminal defense cases, what I see is that they relate better to us than they do the attorneys,
yes,
by far.
Most definitely.
Because they feel like the attorneys are, you know, above them and, you know, look down on them, I think.
Yeah, and if you get down to their level, or if you just talk to them like a normal human being, it's amazing how much more information that you get, as opposed to if you seem all high and mighty coming out their holler to talk to them.
Yeah, it's funny how you get people to talk, and how there was one lady Jimmy went to interview just the other day, and she said right off the bat, I don't want to be interviewed. I don't want anything to do with this case. And then ended up telling Jimmy all kinds of stuff about the case.
Yeah.
And then we went back, and I went back, and she said to Jimmy said, "Remember me? I'm the one that you talked to the other day." She said, "I didn't talk to you. I told you I wasn't talking to you." And ended up taking us into the back room and gave us tons of information about that case.
Yes, nobody likes to testify in court. That's what I've come to discover with this job.
It's because people don't want to be in the spotlight or, like, you know, on camera.
Yeah, really.
But you know, another thing that I find in our work that we're blessed with, I think, is that we meet folks that have amazing stories, just amazing stories to tell. And they come from such wide backgrounds in West Virginia. We have PhD, you know, I mean, I have doctors and that we work with as experts and lawyers, and there went my earring, and other folks that we work with that, you know, are upper socioeconomic levels. And then we also have the people who live in the valleys and on the hills and in the mountains, and
Yes.
you know, I think of who are just regular people who come from you know, average to lower socioeconomic. But I can't help but think of Janie down down below Madison, West Virginia, who lives in a valley between two mountains and a little creek that runs. You haven't been to Janie's, have you?
No.
she talks about her house and reminds us often that for 4 months of the year, the sun doesn't shine on her house.
Right.
In fact, one of the attorneys said they thought they would write a book about that because she's so deep in the valley that, with the hill behind her and a hill in front, for that much of the year, she never has sun on her house.
Yeah, and then I work with a lot of people in the actual mountains of West Virginia, where their parents were coal miners, and they live completely different than some people in this area. You go to their house and you're like, holy cow, I cannot believe that they're very backwoods and they are simple people
But comfortable.
yeah, but totally okay with it. So
And so welcoming.
Yes, and
so
they're-
often so welcoming. And we'll share, always want to try to break bread with you and offer you something to drink. I mean, they're just great folks in West Virginia. I mean, by and large. And when we get into Ohio, it's a little different. The cultural diversity is kind of a little more leveled out there, if you will. We don't have the big peaks with, we see more average to upper, it seems like, educational levels as well as socioeconomic levels probably in that area. But we do far less work in Ohio. But all in all, that's, kind of in a nutshell what the folks are like in West Virginia and some of what we see. We deal with a lot of geographic range in West Virginia as well. You had asked about what the area was like. We go from the creek beds to the mountains and everything in between.
And it is absolutely beautiful. Our state is absolutely beautiful.
Amen. I tell a lot of people over and over and practically daily, I am blessed to have been born and live, where I do. I can't imagine living anyplace else. And even more blessed that my kids and my grandkids are here, and all of my sisters. So that just gives you a little bit of idea, a little bit of flavor about who we work with and the kind of folks we work with here in West Virginia. And we hope you come and see us.
Thanks.